Yeah, this is a definitely old episode because when I typed this up, I still had Eddie's name in here. All right, screw it. Be quiet. Sorry about that. He wasn't going to sit still. Okay, let's do this. Welcome to the Nintendo Power Zone. We are a bi-weekly podcast dedicated to bringing you the best Nintendo-related topics. As always, I am your host, Nice One, and joining me today is Blues and Jaden Winsong. What's going on, guys?
You know, just getting hyped up about the new Pokemon games. That's all I've been talking about and thinking about for the past few days. That's pretty exciting.
I'm good. I'm really excited about this as well. We're going to talk about those Pokemon games today as well. We also did record a previous thing with Nice One and myself, just talking about those games as well. If you guys wanted to check that out, I believe that is posted currently. But I'm a little bit hot, a little bit sweaty in summer, but I'm enjoying it. We're T-minus 12 days till E3. Today, as of recording, is June 1st. E3 starts on June 12th. We're getting there. It's going to be good.
That is absolutely correct. 12 days away from E3, less than 2 weeks, which brings us to today. Today is our third annual E3 prediction episode. For new fans, this is where we make our outlandish, crazy predictions, none of which ever come true, except for the ones that are so on point that they have to come true because we know a little bit about them already. But each and every year, I challenge the cast to come up with a crazy E3 prediction in the hopes that it will come true. So we all have our notes on deck. We're all going to make these crazy predictions. I can't wait to bring my predictions out this year. And on top of that, we're going to talk more about Pokemon. Let's go Eevee. Let's go Pikachu. So it's a big episode today. Not a whole lot of news to talk about because we want to focus on our predictions. But we are going to go ahead and move into the powered up news. And our first major news story is kind of a crazy one. Resident Evil 7 is coming to the Nintendo Switch. Sort of. There's a caveat. So
I would say there's two caveats.
As of right now, in Japan only, you can play Resident Evil 7 on the Nintendo Switch, but it's limited to a streaming service. This is pretty cool. I like the fact that you can play Resident Evil 7 on the Nintendo Switch. I hate the fact that it's streaming. Probably not so much of a big deal in Japan because they have what I like to call hyper internet. Their internet makes our internet look like toilet water, like shitted in toilet water. But yeah, it's still Resident Evil 7 playing on the Nintendo Switch, albeit any sort of connection errors. What do you guys think about this news story?
I think it's a good thing. I mean, anything that gets more games onto the Switch in general is in my book, it's good. And it's a way for the Switch to prove to other people that, you know what? Yeah, that game's on PS4 and Xbox. We got it too. So I think from that standpoint, it's really good. The streaming thing can hurt in an odd way. But, I mean, everyone's pretty much connected these days. So I'd be curious to see how many people that actually really affects.
Why do you think they actually made it a streaming game? Is it because of compression that they didn't want to go through the effort of releasing a digital version or even a physical version? I think that's what's getting to me. Why didn't Capcom release a physical version of the game? They could have released a budget version with none of the special features because this streaming version does include all the DLC. It is at a really nice price point at $18.99, which is dirt cheap. And it has all that DLC, but I would pay $30, $35, $40, anywhere from up to $50 to play the full version of the game and have a physical version. Or hell, if you made it digital only and you forced me to make that digital purchase, I wouldn't I would entirely make that digital purpose. So what's the point in making this a digital only game in your opinion?
I think it has something to do with maybe the performance of the Switch. Maybe since like, this is a pretty technical game, I'm sure they've dumbed down the graphics a little bit to make the port, as these usually do. But I almost have to wonder if the extra like connectivity like is like Capcom pushing a bit more power or something into the Switch to help it run, or maybe taking a load off of what's being processed. At the same time, I think it might be to help performance. And if that is the case, I think that's kind of a welcome change in terms of like being able to port other games over. There's a lot of really powerful graphic stuff, powerful processing stuff on the game market right now. And the Switch needs to be hurt a little bit when you get Switch ports. I feel like having that kind of workaround sort of opens the back door and allows us to get more tried and true ports, things that have not been dumbed down to an extent. And if that's the case, I like it.
That's a little weird, though. I mean, we are getting Wolfenstein, and we do already have Doom on the Switch, though.
But those have been dumbed down.
They have been taking a graphical hit, but for the most part, they haven't sacrificed any gameplay elements. Yeah, performance.
Like
they've optimized
FPS, right?
So I mean, those games. Go ahead.
So as I've mentioned before, I'm pretty sure I've mentioned before, I worked a couple years in the tech industry, right?
Yes.
And one of the things that the industry was talking about before I left. Now, granted, I don't know where we stand now on what I'm about to say because I've been out of the loop, but this is interesting. One of the things that they were talking about doing was moving just general computer use from one where everything is processed on your own computer to being a more cloud-based service. So what you would do is you'd your computer would be the terminal, and you'd send the data over the interwebs, and a lot of the hard computing could be done in the cloud, and that would somehow integrate with your terminal at home. And so I think what they're trying to do is exactly what you're trying to get at, Blues, is they're trying to make this a streaming service so that the Switch can still get a good performing, good looking game while still being honestly underpowered. So if they're using that technology, if my prediction is correct, then that's probably why they're doing it.
See, I have a problem with this mentality, and I don't know. Maybe it's because of just my general age, being 34 years old. I like owning things. Like
I'm the same way.
Sense of ownership is important to me, and Netflix is great. But you don't.
You can't show off your DVD collection if you have a Netflix subscription.
Well, not just that, but like streaming services cycle. They cycle things in and out, and I'm the type of movie watcher, book reader, gamer that will typically I'll go back and I'll play the game at my leisure. I'll go back. It might be 3 years, 4 years down the line, but I'll eventually it will make its way back into the system, and I want to play it when I want to play it. And that's the problem I have with, these cloud streaming services, is that they take away that sense of ownership. And I'm just not a huge fan of not being able to own things that I'm paying for. And there's only 180 days here if you do make this purchase to play Resident Evil 7 on the Switch. 180 days. Now that's a long time. That's half a year, but that's not the timetable in which I would play. I would play it once in that 180 days, and I probably wouldn't go back to it. Now, that being said, I do own Resident Evil 7 on the PS4, and I have been getting that itch to play it since it's been about a year. It would be nice to be able to play this game again, but again, now they're taking away the best part about the Nintendo Switch, is that they're removing the portability aspect of it by making this game a stream-only game. I hate that.
You could have a hotspot. Mobile hotspots and whatnot are a thing you could do. My local library checks them out. You can rent them from the library. And my friend just pretty much always has one checked out, so we can take a Switch whoever.
Okay, so my counter-argument to that is my phone has a mobile hotspot. There are areas in Florida, where I lose my signal, which means that I'm going to lose my signal on my console. Recently, I made that trip to Joysticks Arcade Lounge with my fiance. The whole time we were in the car, she was playing Splatoon using the mobile hotspot on my phone. There were areas in that drive where she lost the signal entirely and was booted out of the match.
Game, yeah.
Hotspots are great, but they're not a
perfect.
gaming solution. They're not the right solution for streaming games.
I would agree with that. No, you're right there.
So yeah, a couple things I don't like about this is I don't like the not owning the product, and I don't like having to be reliant on a super strong, stable internet connection. Now that being said, this doesn't even apply to us. This is only for the Japanese market.
Players.
But I would imagine that, you know, depending on how well this does in Japan, they'll bring it over here if it does exceedingly well. All right. But anybody have anything else to say on the Resident Evil 7 topic?
I think it's good we're getting another Resident Evil game. We had Revelations 2, which were kind of cool to be portable experiences. I know the original Revelations was originally 3DS portable, and that was kind of interesting. So I'm glad to see more Resident Evil, though, especially with Resident Evil 7 being a kind of interesting hit last year, and a big sort of reinvention for the series. I am excited to see this come to the Switch.
Oh, I definitely think it's a good get for the Switch. It's one of those things where, like, I never imagined that, you know, this franchise would ever make its way back properly on a Nintendo console, because the last proper one we had
was 4 on GameCube, right? Yeah.
Well, I guess the Switch, the Wii version was also, I mean, the Wii version is the best version of that game, in my opinion. The motion controls, the waggle, that worked.
Weren't there a couple actually on Wii? There was an Umbrella Chronicles and something else. I don't know, but
probably. They were like rail shooters, which were a lot of fun. Don't get me wrong, but they were more House of the Dead-y.
Yeah, very arcade, very old school arcade.
They weren't really proper Resident Evil titles. The last real proper title that we had were the Revelations ones, which were fantastic. But I mean, you know,
yeah.
So I think that's it for Resident Evil 7. I think we've covered the positives and the cons right there. So moving on, let's go back to the big news of what was it Wednesday? Let's go Pikachu and let's go Eevee. Brendan and I had a 48-minute conversation about, you know, all the information about the Pokemon press conference, but we haven't heard Jaden's opinion on the game. So go ahead, Jaden, take the floor. What are your thoughts on Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee? And then Brendan and I will expound on that.
Yeah, you know, it's been a couple. Wait, how long has it been? 72 hours? 72 hours since the announcement. So I think we've got a lot more time to actually sit with the information, let it sink in, and you know, change our minds or reinforce certain opinions depending on how you are. And I'll be the first to admit, seeing the initial trailer, I was really not impressed. I was on the boat of hating it, for lack of a better term. But after, you know, 72 hours and watching the trailers, you know, 2, 3, 4 more times, I actually am I'm kind of excited, honestly. I think it's a mixed bag. I'm still not on board. I'm not sold on the Pokemon Go integration. To me, that's, I don't know. It feels like they're trying to forcefully resurrect a dead game or a dying game, and that to me, that's a bit weird. But we'll have to see to what extent the integration is. It doesn't look as if it's integral to the game experience. It just seems like a side add-on, like how in Soul Silver or Heart Gold they had the little Pokewalker things.
Pokewalker, yeah.
Yeah, you didn't really need them to enjoy the game, but they were kind of just one of those things.
I need mine to live. I have mine with me at all times.
No, that's funny. Yeah, I need to go find mine. I have. There's one of them. I had another one. Anyway, but yeah, that's what kind of it feels like to me. What do you think?
Go ahead.
So I'm glad you touched on the fact that it's been a while we've been able to come to terms with it, because I've come to terms with my idea too. If you guys saw the episode, I believe the word I used was I was uncomfortable with where it sort of sat. It didn't feel like a full main series game, and it didn't feel like a spin-off either. It sat somewhere in between that didn't sit well with me for some reason. Like, is that worth the $60?
that caused a lot of confusion too.
Yeah,
because at the time when they announced it, they hadn't made it clear that it wasn't a main core game. That tweet didn't come out for like another 12 hours or something.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people were angry and very confused, which is understandable. I was in the same boat. I'm like, really? Is this the next main core?
I knew it wouldn't be a main core from like even the rumors floating around about it, honestly. But I actually so that didn't sit well for me. Like, why am I gonna like this? I kind of hope that we actually get more of these Let's Go games, though. I hope that we almost get a side main series. So whereas we have the main core games, 2019 we're getting a new main series game, and so should that follow the traditional path of like Sun and Moon, X and Y that we've been seeing recently, I want that game to take that direction, and I want a second series to take the direction that Let's Go is going. Almost like Harvest Moon versus Story of Seasons, how those games had sort of branched off. One took one direction, one took another. And so I want Pokemon to sort of do the same thing. Let's get like new generations on the main series, and let's get a Let's Go series that will like cover remakes, but do them in a style where you can sort of reimagine it, much like you can play around with the world a bit more with the Let's Go games. I believe we were talking about how the Pokemon, this is one of the most we've seen, like Pokemon free roaming the world in any Pokemon game. There's a lot of unique ideas with two-player, with like the one-handed Joy-Con, the like dressing up, like a lot of things that seem like they might be okay with being in the main core series, but are different enough where most hardcore fans would say, yeah, no, that's disgusting. Don't give that back. Like the Pokemon Go integration, like you're not a fan of it, and I'm iffy on it. But as long as the 2019 mainline game has traditional roots, I'm fine with taking a sort of Let's Go approach from now on with these remakes or whatever.
See, I'm on board with that a little bit. And I want to state that 72 hours later, I am just as hyped for these games as I was the day that I saw them. I've watched the trailer about 57 times. No joke. Yeah, no joke, 57 times. Just sat there analyzing the trailer. And I like
I like gone for 60. Just throwing it out there, make that round even 60 number.
Nintendo's getting lots of ad revenue off of you.
I will get there eventually. I know I will. But I like the concept of this game. I like the concept of this game as a bridge. We said it in the discussion that we had a few days ago with that.
To capture Pokemon Go players and longtime fans who have fallen off.
But there's just a bunch of people whose first Pokemon experience, and maybe only Pokemon experience, was Pokemon Go. I saw an argument a couple days ago that kind of upset me. And the argument was, this is what happens when you segment the fan base. And I'm like, the fan base was never segmented.
Yeah.
You have a game that was specifically designed to be played on a mobile device, and then you have your core franchise that was designed to be played on a handheld device. Now, what works in handheld doesn't work in mobile, and vice versa. We've seen that. We've seen handheld games that don't translate well to mobile because they don't have tactile buttons. And we've seen mobile games that have made the transition to handheld consoles, and they don't work because most handheld devices didn't have a capacitive touchscreen to fully utilize those games. I think the biggest argument was Angry Birds. Do you guys remember when Angry Birds came to the 3DS?
Oh, that was god awful.
It got such bad reviews because mobile games don't translate.
No.
Those games don't translate well. What we have here is a bridge. It takes the things that work about Pokemon Go, and to be honest, catching wild Pokemon in Pokemon Go, that's a good mechanic. Like, we can say what we want that, there's no traditional battling wild Pokemon in Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee, but guess what? The mechanic will work the same with a Joy-Con. You're still going to have that basic motion of throwing or swiping, that will, throw the Pokeball to catch the Pokemon. That mechanic works. I wouldn't mind if that mechanic showed up in a core game, but with the caveat, let me battle the Pokemon and then select, ball like I would in a
like just do a gesture instead of just have it completely like Pokemon Go.
And let's be real here. They haven't even confirmed that you cannot battle the Pokemon before.
Yeah.
See, because what I've seen in the screenshots, or not the screenshots, but in the videos, that they do have a battle screen. So it's really, it wouldn't make sense for me to not implement that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's something that I really want to wait to see for more confirmation on, because I'm actually on the side of the boat where I still believe that that's going to be integrated into the system.
I am on that boat as well, Jaden.
Now, if I'm being honest, there are features in Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee that haven't been announced that I feel like should be, like the raid mechanic in Pokemon Go. I honestly think that's a function that should come over specifically for legendary Pokemon. Let's say you don't have, the legendary birds in Pokemon Go and you can't transfer them over. Well, how do we bring them over? I'm kind of tired of these give me events that the Pokemon company does where like, ooh, go to Target and get this card and you can have a level, 100 Moltres or a level 150, even though I know the game doesn't go up to that, Mewtwo. I'm tired of those. Like
level 151 Mewtwo. Even that's Mew, but hey.
There should be something in game that makes catching a legendary worthwhile. Like some kind of online event that allows me to partner up with a bunch of people who are also playing this game so that I can catch, whatever legendary Pokemon. I think the raid mechanic from, Pokemon Go should be implemented in the Let's Go games. Again, there are functions that I think should transfer over. Like I like the actual throwing the ball. I think that should be in the main series game. But
yeah, I agree.
I think that should be in Pokemon 2019. So yeah, I don't think this game actually goes far enough, but I love the game. I love the way this game looks graphically. Like I said, it keeps the idea of being a bridge game where it takes the best parts of the graphics of the 3DS games and it up-reses them so that it looks good, at 1080p or whatever resolution they're running this game at. I'm pretty sure that it's going to be 1080p. It would be really weird if they didn't go that route. But it looks good. It brings back, the buddy Pokemon where they're following you. Not just that, but you get 2 buddy Pokemon because you're always going to have Eevee. You're always going to have Pikachu, whichever game you pick. And then you're going to be able to have another Pokemon follow you, or you're going to be able to ride that Pokemon. And people have been complaining about that for years. They've been complaining about it since Heart Gold and Soul Silver. Like, why isn't this your bag?
Yeah, I'm one of those people that complains about that.
Yeah,
I complain about that.
I've always been complaining about that, and that's one of the features I've wanted. So that's one of the reasons why I really appreciate Let's Go. And the other thing I appreciate about the secondary Pokemon is the Pokemon that are behind you, they look more to scale than they have in the past. Like they have I think they showed the Gengar, right?
And the Onix.
And the Onix. And if you look at the actual scales they have in Cerebi or whatever, of how tall they actually are, Gengar's fucking huge. Like you're gonna have to censor that out later. My bad. But he's huge, right? And so it's nice to see that scale actually kind of demonstrated in the game.
Yeah,
so,
I honestly think there are more features that people like from traditional Pokemon games than the features that they don't like from Pokemon Go coming over. So I have a hard time swallowing the complaints of the internet recently. I'm like, there's more traditional Pokemon game here than you guys are willing to give it credit for. You guys are literally just looking at the one aspect of the game that you can complain about, and you're making a mountain out of a molehill. So
my friend has literally told me, "Oh yeah, I'm so excited." Sarcastically, of course. "Oh yeah, I'm so excited about Pokemon Go on my Switch. I love playing a geocaching game on my home console. It's gonna work great." I'm like, "No, that's not what it is at all. They just incorporated some catching features about it, and it's more or less the same experience, though."
And to be fair, I was initially in that realm. And a lot of that is because of the way the trailer was cut. The trailer was cut to be heavily focused on the integration with Pokemon Go.
It starts off with just Go, and then Pikachu jumps into the Switch.
Exactly. And so that's one of the reasons why I can empathize with a lot of this confusion, because it's a shitty trailer. Let's be honest, it's not a great trailer.
Oh, I love the trailer. I'm gonna have
production-wise, it's great, but details-wise, it's confusing.
Yeah, and I don't know. I think personally they should have done a little bit more to distance themselves from Pokemon Go, to make it seem like, hey, see, there's two ways you can look at this, right? You can look at it as like, hey, there's Pokemon Go with some Pokemon Go features, right? Let's go with some tiny Pokemon Go features. Or you can look at it like, oh, this is just a big extension of Pokemon Go. Now, my argument that I'm trying to make here is that the way the trailer was cut was in such a way that it looks like the latter. It looks like Pokemon Go Plus. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So
here's the thing, like all these people complaining though, this is the thing that gets me. There are so many people complaining about this title. This game is going to sell 14 million units and an additional 10 million Switches. It's gonna we're gonna get, how many Switches were sold already? How many Switches were sold? What did we say? It was like 17
or something?
No, it was like 17 million. All right.
Yeah.
So of the 17 million people who own a Nintendo Switch, the attach rate will be 12 million. Then they're going to sell an additional 14 million Switches, and the attach rate to Pokemon Let's Go is going to be an additional 10 million. This will be the highest selling Pokemon game of all time. I promise.
I definitely agree in that standpoint, simply because, well, not just because of nostalgia, but also because it is the first like big Pokemon game. Yeah, it's the bridge game. And there were so many memories.
It's incorporating Pokemon Go. It's a remake of Yellow. It has the ability to capture such a wide audience that I think no other Pokemon game has really had. You know, it can recapture old fans, bring a lot of new fans. It
also has new features too. Mm-hmm. Like you could dress up your Pokemon. I mean, okay, so I'm gonna out myself here. I have been wanting to put Eevee in a fucking hat since I was 10 years old. Like, he's cute as shit. Or she's cute. Pokemon is cute as shit when you dress him up.
Eevee is most of the time a boy. It has like a 92% chance of being a boy, and then
does it? I never remember those percentages. Yeah. But you know my point. Like, anyway, the point I'm trying to make is the dress up feature. They had it in like the old games with the fashionista sort of things, but you could never actually see them.
No,
and being able to see them to this degree to me is super exciting. And so I think a lot of the new features that they're adding in here, especially with things like we haven't touched on it yet, but the Go Park, for example, I think those outweigh the potential downsides. You know?
Yeah, I don't think there are enough Pokemon Go features here that should cause this kind of like disdain for a game that's not out yet, and for a game that's gonna sell to the people who are complaining about it. Like, maybe I'm just old. Maybe I'm just old, and I'm tired of like the sense of entitlement that people carry themselves with when it comes to what Nintendo should and shouldn't make. So it gets on my nerves. Like, come on, guys, when they give you something new, or when they make something that is designed to, you know, attract more players, the first thing that comes out of people's mouths is, oh, they're only appealing to the casuals. It's the same thing that happened when Labo was announced. This isn't for me. Not everything's for you. I'm sorry. And I know that seems callous, but not everything is for everybody. If everything was for everybody, we'd all be the same. And that's not what life is about, man.
You know, I've talked about this several times over the years, over the year of being on this podcast. But this is one of the biggest fucking problems with Nintendo fan base. Make up your goddamn minds. It's just like Wind Waker all over again. When Wind Waker first came out, people hated it. I hate the art style. Why isn't this like Ocarina of Time? You know. But then when Twilight Princess came out, people were like, why isn't this like Wind Waker? We want the cutesy art style. What the hell, guys? And we see this over and over and over again with the Nintendo fan base. I love you guys, but holy shit, come on. At least give it a chance to see all the fucking features before you start complaining.
Yeah, like I said, I'm super excited about what this game presents. It's our first big boy Pokemon game on the console, and to be honest, they have a
Pokemon Quest.
Listen,
that's big boy, right?
That's medium sized boy.
That's funny.
That's a medium sized. You know, I don't want Look, I don't dislike Pokemon Quest. I actually think it plays pretty well. The transition to the console. This game was made as a mobile game first and a console game second. Now, I am impressed that they were able to. I'm impressed at the way they were able to up-res the game so that when it's on the Switch, that it looks and plays phenomenally. But oh boy, that game! I could not figure out scrolling for a minute because I didn't realize that you had to hold the button down. Anyway, back to Pokemon Let's Go. Look, I'm excited for what this game presents. It's our first big boy game, and look, if it's not for you, don't buy it. Like I'm gonna be as blunt as possible, and I'm not normally this blunt on the show, but just don't buy it. Don't buy it, and send a message. Like how
vote with your wallet.
That's how companies. Yeah. That's how companies learn. That's how companies learn. You know what? People keep complaining they don't like the direction of the Paper Mario series. It sells well enough
that they're gonna keep making this direction.
They're gonna keep doing them with all these weird caveats because they sell well enough that it doesn't matter what you're saying because your wallet speaks more to Nintendo. Yeah. And same applies here. If you don't really want to play this game, if you don't like this integration, if you don't want any of this in your Pokemon, if you don't want cookies in your milk, don't buy the cookies. Just don't buy the cookies. And that's how you speak volumes. Like the chatter, it's just noise. It's just noise that Nintendo doesn't really hear. You know how Nintendo hears you? When you make the purchase or when you fill out a survey. Fill out a survey. Yeah, when Nintendo puts out a survey, and they put out plenty of surveys. I do like a Nintendo survey once a month. I really do. How do you play your Nintendo Switch? Mostly handheld. They ask. They put out these surveys for a reason. What don't you like about these games? There's your opportunity to speak. If you're not participating in the surveys and you're not speaking with your wallet, then Nintendo doesn't know what you want because they're not going to read every individual comment. Look, we get a crap ton of emails every month. I tell you what, as much as I try to read them, my eyeballs would bleed if I read every single one.
Speaking of comments, I wanna thank Pokemon Let's Go Eevee for joining us in the live chat on our YouTube stream. Thanks, good to have you on here.
Yes, welcome to the show.
But I do want to take a moment here to actually talk about some of the, I think, in my opinion, the valid criticisms that some of the fan base has come up with, and that's the lack of rumor, mind you, the lack of Wonder Trade and the Pokemon online battle tower, whatever that was, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's a valid criticism. Those have been staples of all the games in for a long time now, and so the fact that
2 generations, but it started in X and Y.
No, but they had something similar in like Pearl and Diamond.
Well, you mean specifically for Wonder Trading or just like all of online? Because
so they had different versions of it, right? It's been a long time since I played those ones.
So Pokemon has had online since Gen 4, but then Wonder Trading was in Gen 6, and that's where that started. GTS, the Global Trade Station, has been around since Gen 4.
That's
Battling Online has been around since Gen 4.
Yeah. I conflated both GTS and Wonder Trade, so that's my bad. But so here's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping those sorts of features are wrapped up into the Go Park, which we have not seen anything about yet. So that's what I'm hoping. But if not, then I think that the fan base does actually have some valid points there. That's just my impression.
I kind of like the idea that's kind of isolated. It isolates itself in its own little box away from the mainline games in that way, I feel like. And I feel like if you're going to make remakes and more of them in this style in the future, you need to isolate them, make it so that it's not core series, and make that kind of clear. And I feel like that's the way you make that clear.
Am I the only person that wants Lily to show up in this game?
I mean, it's possible, because, you're not Red and Blue. You're 2 new protagonists, and Red and Blue are, characters in the world. So I mean, it's possible.
Because she left to Kanto at the end of the game.
Oh, that's true. But I'll take your Lily, and I'll raise her to Lucamine. I'll take Lucamine.
Well, they'd both be there.
I'm just saying,
Lily and Lucamine were both there to meet Bill, who turned himself into Pokemon, and back. So they're
yeah. I
Yeah.
forgot you did that.
yeah. So Lusamine and Lily will be there. If one is there, the other will be there for sure.
I definitely want to see them show up in the game, even if it's just in a brief cameo. Oh, it's like, oh, I came from the Alola region, and he's like, cool, I'm from Kanto.
Cool. Where the heck is that? There's only 151 Pokemon. I don't know what your Rowlet and your Popplio are. What the heck are those? Get those out of my region.
So, Pokemon, let's go Eevee. They have a question in chat, and that is, what do you think the new Pokemon will be? That's an interesting question. Some of the rumor is that we're not going to get any new ones, but personally, I'd like to see some of the. They just released some information on Twitter or whatever about Pokemon that have been cut in the Gold, Silver original games.
Oh,
I'm hoping they bring some,
like the Gotochu.
Oh, yeah, the prototype version, right?
Yeah. I would like to see some of those back because they had some cat designs that I thought were super cool.
Cyndaquil didn't exist at all, and this Firestarter is like crazy. I really like that Firestarter design.
I think it's going to be a fusion. It's going to be a fusion of Eevee and Pikachu.
Oh, that would be cool.
It's going to be Eeveechu.
That'd be kind of cool. So, I guess I think we're starting to wrap up on this topic, right?
Yeah, I think we should move away from Pokemon. Let's go.
So, last question then.
Predictions.
What is the one feature that you guys really want to see in this game that we haven't seen yet? I'll go first. Poke waifus. No. I'm just saying. I want Lusamine. You know, they blessed us in Sun and Moon with Lusamine and Wisp. What was her name? The thick one. Wick. Because it rhymes with thick. So
that's how you remember, of course.
That's how I remember.
All right.
Honestly,
I want Poke waifus. What was you say?
I want raids. I want raids. I think that's a function of Pokemon Go that translates well. Something that really embraces community play, even if it has to be online community play. But that's what Pokemon is supposed to be, right? Pokemon is supposed to help you make friends. It's supposed to share. You're supposed to have something that you have in common, and you're supposed to share that joy with one another. And I think raids, the few raids that I've been to, in Pokemon Go, I haven't been to a whole bunch, but I have been to a few that require like meeting up with people. Those have been fun because we all go in there, we bond over Pokemon, and then we go our separate ways. I might never see them again, but in that brief moment, we're all friends. So I think the raids, function in the way that Pokemon was always designed to function, helping people, communicate with one another through a shared interest. So yeah, I would like to see raids, even if they're limited to online raids. I want them there, especially, for catching legendary, type Pokemon.
Okay, so hear me out. This is kind of a crazy idea. But so the Pokemon TCG video game on the Game Boy? I want the player character to be able to collect cards in the game and go around and play battle other people, but in the TCG version.
That would be so cool.
That would be cool, right? And I hope maybe some amiibo card integration might be a way to do that as well. We've not seen amiibo support for this game yet, so if there is amiibo support, that could be an interesting way to do it. Maybe. Other than that, I want a lot of just nods and throwbacks to things, even if they're technically in the future. Like Lusamine and Lily, they're Gen 7, so seeing them there is a nice little nod to the Gen 7. Seeing Steven Stone from Gen 3, Gold. What if at the end of the game you fight Gold at the top of Mount Silver or something? You fight Gold instead.
What if you just go to Johto at the end of this? Since it's just
okay.
there.
So here's a crazy controversial question.
Okay.
If Johto was DLC, would you buy it?
Yeah, 100%.
Depends on the price.
I don't care. no, charging another $20, I'm gonna buy a Johto.
What if it's 40?
For 40, I kind of want a whole new game.
You better put Hoenn in. For 40, you better add Hoenn as well.
Yeah. No, yeah. I don't want a whole new game. So, if I'm getting a physical cartridge, I want a physical cartridge for Johto as well. And I'd pay 40 for that. That's how I would do that.
That's fair. I guess we're all agreed, though, that if it were DLC, New Zones DLC, we would pay for it.
But I'll buy it with the caveat that I need the second Elite Four as well as part of that DLC.
Of course, yeah.
I need both Elite Fours. I just can't have the Johto, how it was in Pokemon Gold and Silver, where it's like, here you beat the Elite Four, but here are these other 8 gym leaders that mean nothing. You know, you beat them and there's no Elite Four, so that you're the champion of 2 regions. You're just the champion. No. I need the Johto League as well.
Part of me wants to see Kanto go through a very, very just major change. Like the apocalypse has hit Kanto.
And, you're going back to those rumors from way back when. I think that's cool.
I don't know about those rumors. I'm not sure what you're talking about, but I feel like that could be interesting to see, though. Like something where, you know, Kanto isn't the same as it was. I feel like you should have like a remake version. Maybe like if you add a DLC, make it DLC where like the new player character who's not Red travels like 30 years into the future, and Team Rocket rules everything.
Well, that was one of the rumors, sort of leaks that was coming out like a while back. Before we got the official Let's Go announcement, and that was the idea that I guess I must have read it on like Reddit or something. But anyway, the idea was that it was going to be set in the future, like a couple decades after Sun and Moon, and there was supposed to be some sort of weird cataclysmic-ish event that had changed land masses or whatever, and so you
almost
go back
like the meteor in Fortnite, then.
Yeah, kind of. So you go back to Kanto,
and there's a giant meteor and mountains and everywhere that we used to be.
Yeah, some sort of idea with that, like that, which I thought would be interesting, but I don't know. What about the Orange League?
That would be fun. I paid like $5 or $10 for Orange League DLC too. Yeah. Like if you added that later on, I would pay for that. Like that was also never really a thing we got to do in the games either. That was like exclusive to the anime, correct?
Yeah, I think it was anime filler basically.
Yeah, I think so. Didn't he win the Orange League actually?
I think it was the only thing he won.
Well, no, he won the Battle Frontier. He was going to be his own Frontier brain, but declined the offer. So he won the Battle Frontier, and I think he won Orange League.
He's never officially won an official league, though.
No, yeah. Orange League was not official. Battle Frontier is its own little thing. Yeah.
All right. Oh, God. All right. So, yeah, let's put this topic to bed. I think we've
move on to the actual good bits of this.
Before we do the predictions, you guys want to take our break here?
Yeah. Yeah, let's
all right, so before I move on to predictions and before we take a break, I really want to remind you guys that are watching that tonight, if you got a Switch, they are doing the Mario Tennis Aces.
Yes.
Test server. So check it out.
Mm-hmm. And they'll be running through at 8 p.m., right? 8 p.m. and then through to Sunday at some point.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Crap.
So you have plenty of time as well. So I believe you get an extra character. If you participate in the tournament, you get a character when you get the game when it launches on June 24th, right? So if you want extra characters, boom, there's one already.
Awesome. Honestly, I haven't been paying too much attention. Just my brain has been frazzled with work lately. So, and Let's Go. So yeah, I forgot. I completely forgot about Mario Tennis today.
Download the tournament if you haven't already.
Yeah, I've downloaded it. I just haven't had a chance to play it. All right, guys. What we're gonna do is we're gonna take a quick 5-minute break, and when we come back, we're going to move into our E3 predictions. So don't go anywhere. We will be right back. All right, that was my fault. I was in the bathroom.
MBG.
All right, let's jump right back into this. Everybody ready?
Yes.
All right. All right, welcome back to the Nintendo Power Zone, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Nice One, and joining me are my co-hosts, Blues and Jaden Winson. We are fully staffed today because today is a very special episode. It is our third annual E3 prediction show. I am super hyped because it's these two's first E3 with the Nintendo Power Zone. Now, I've done this twice already, so I'm really excited to see what kind of crazy prediction you guys have for the second half of our predictions. But first, as always, as is tradition here, we like to make predictions about the games that we know are coming out first. So we've got a nice little list of games this year. I think more than we've had in our previous two E3s because last E3, I mean, we were all anticipating Super Mario Odyssey, and if that was the only game Nintendo brought, that was a good year. And the year before that was a Wii U E3, and we had all since given hope. But they did bring Breath of the Wild that year. I mean, that was all they really showed, but they brought Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
So this year, there's a lot of hype because there are games we know about. So the games we know about are Smash Bros. Untitled, Yoshi, Metroid Prime 4, Pokemon Switch, Travis Strikes Again, No More Heroes, and we get to talk a little bit about the Nintendo Switch Online service. So let's go ahead and we'll start with the big one, Smash Bros. I'm going to start with my first prediction for Smash Bros. A brand new wave of amiibo, not reprints of the previous amiibo line. I think we are getting an all-new lineup of amiibo, new poses, new characters, new bases, the whole 9 yards. The amiibo craze was at its fever pitch when the Smash line had first come out. So I think that Nintendo's not stupid. I know there's that running joke that Nintendo doesn't like making money. That's BS because we all know Nintendo loves making money, and they do it better than most other video game companies. So be prepared for a brand new wave of amiibo, and I guarantee you with the decimation of Toys R Us, it's going to be even harder to find these new amiibo.
Or they could just do us all a favor and make them easy for once.
That's not what they do.
Please?
That's not what they do.
Please?
Nintendo likes to generate hype, and they kind of like to create.
But it's a scummy strategy. It's good, but it's scummy.
Yeah, they kind of like to create that false demand. It's that false demand, but Nintendo does it better than any other company.
It's the hype, and I just want it. I don't want to pay scalpers. If Nintendo wants money, they don't create scalpers. They sell it themselves.
See, but what this gets me really excited for, though, is like specific characters. Like I know there's gonna be at least one ARMS character in this new game, so it's gonna be nice to have an ARMS amiibo. And you know that Nintendo likes to do some funny stuff with their amiibos, so I expect them to have like slinky arms.
Now, will the existing Splatoon line of amiibos work for Inkling Boy and Girl as characters? And will we get an Inkling Boy and Girl Smash amiibo?
I think they'll work, and I think if you use the Splatoon 2 amiibos, that will unlock alternate costumes for that. But I also think we're going to get a brand new traditional Inkling Boy and Inkling Girl amiibo, which I think that's going to be dope. So yes, that's my first prediction for Super Smash Bros. Who's got the next?
So I want to say that at E3, there will be a trailer, and in the trailer, if not a newcomer, I think we will see a trailer that will showcase all of the old comers, all the returning characters who are more or less cut. Yes, Ice Climbers, Wolf, those are very popular characters to come back. And all the rest who have been cut will be shown off in the trailer that we see. I think getting that confirmation that these characters are coming back early on is a very smart move. So I think whether it's in just the main trailer we do get, or if it's in some just separate trailer specifically for the newcomers, I think they'll get a trailer.
Yeah, my prediction or hope is on a similar line. I really hope they bring in different characters that we wouldn't have thought of being Smash Brothers kind of appropriate. For example, Goku.
Be that guy. Sakurai
Yeah,
will
I gotta be
force
that guy.
every amiibo down your throat
Yeah.
if you want that. Come on.
Yeah, but these are ones I really, really want. I want to see Young Link make a return.
Okay.
More along the Zelda lines. I'd like to see the King of Hyrule from the CDI days. The CDI, my boy.
I was going to say the Red Lion King, but
No. I'm talking about my boy.
Oh no!
I would love to see some of those things.
But we forgot about that. We don't talk about that.
Yeah, that's why I would love to see them. It would be so out there. I think it'd be fantastic. Even if it were just as a trophy, I think that'd be cool. The other one I want to see is Captain N. I want Captain N in Smash.
Yeah,
he would be sick with his little zapper thing.
Yeah, that's a character I want, and that more or less ties in. I wasn't sure how to say it, but I want the old returning characters, but I would kind of love if we got a newcomer revealed. It would be the newcomer that's the retro one we get from this game. We got their traditional Rob was a retro newcomer.
That's true,
Dog and NES Zapper guys were the retro newcomer, etc. And so I feel like he would make a good retro newcomer, and I feel like I want the retro newcomer, whoever it is, to be showed off as the newcomer because we're going to get newcomers at E3 is the assumption, right?
Yep. That actually segues into my next prediction. My newcomer prediction for Smash, my big one, is we are going to see 2 ARMS characters. Two. Not just 1, 2. We are going to get Springman.
Okay.
Or Ribbon Girl. One of those 2. One of those 2 will definitely appear in this game. And for my actual other pick for ARMS characters, we are going to see Ninjara. And I'll tell you how this is going to go down. Greninja is going to be a returning character. And they're going to have Greninja doing some stuff, jumping off of trees like a Frog Ninja does. And then out of nowhere, he's going to be chilling. He's going to stop, chill on a tree branch, and there's going to be a giant chain fist approaching him. And he's going to do he's going to drop a smoke bomb, and he's going to teleport away. And then when he teleports to his new location, Ninjara will also teleport, be in his face, and smash Greninja down. That is my prediction for Smash. And Ninjara, Springman, or Ribbon Girl.
So I want to add into that trailer idea. So then as they're clashing, all of a sudden a shuriken comes out, and Takamatsu from Takamatsu's Ninja Castle comes out.
That'd be sick.
It just interrupts all 3 of them.
All right. So who's got the second Smash prediction?
I guess I'll go. I kind of wanted to do a newcomer prediction, but I feel like it's more interesting to say that I want a quest mode / story mode. I don't want to say story mode back, but maybe quest mode might be more what it is. But something similar to the Subspace Emissary. I think that was a feature that I think a lot of people want to come back. I think Sakurai will put it back. I feel like that's the thing to make this game stand out also from Wii U, because I feel like it will be similar even if it's not a port. I feel like it's got to be the same engine, etc. A lot of similarities. I think in terms of the roster, you can't get much bigger. Obviously, you go more third party, and Nintendo creates new IPs. But then you have a good chunk of the existing characters already there, all the franchises are mostly represented in some fashion. Mario has a lot of reps. Obviously, we still need Waluigi, etc. But we have a good chunk of the base characters covered. And so I feel like you can't expand the roster too much right now. I feel like we have everyone we could think of at this point. I don't know. So I think adding new modes is the approach to make this game better. Add a story mode, add a new kind of classic mode, etc. I think that's how you make this game stand out, gameplay-wise.
All right. No, I agree. Yeah, that would be nice. I do miss the Subspace Emissary. That was probably the saving grace of
Brawl. Yeah.
And let's be honest, for as much as I dislike Brawl is still a good game. It's just
it's just
in comparison
as a Smash game.
In comparison to other Smash games, yeah, it doesn't hold a candle. But yeah, it's still a really good game mechanically. All right, Jaden, second prediction.
So I predict that we will see a return of the equipment function.
Like what we got with custom moves?
Yes, the custom moves and the custom weight classes and things like that. I think it'd be very hard for them to go and not include that, since since it was a feature that was added. In my personal opinion, anything that allows people to customize something allows them to become it forces them to be invested into it. So it's not just that they're, I don't know, a Captain Falcon main. It's they're a Captain Falcon main that changes it so he has this particular moveset and moves like this, or hits really hard and is a glass cannon. And to me personally, I think this is one of the most underutilized and underrated features of the latest match, because I think it would make it for a much more interesting competition scene. That's just my opinion.
I want to bounce off that a little bit though, because with that, you have to realize that Sakurai has to appeal to people who don't like those things and people who do want these things. That's the big issue Sakurai really faces when dealing with his fan base. He made this game to be more casual, more fun. That's why items exist. But then the hardcore fans say no items, only flat stages, and only the good characters. And Sakurai's like, well, that's not how you make the game how I want to make it and how most people also want to play it, And so I feel like you have to include that feature. I feel like you can't take it out because that appeals to the side who liked it in the Smash 4. The side who didn't like it was the competitive guys, and I feel like they won't use it. But I almost want to say expand on it, but don't. I feel like it was poorly made in 4. I almost want to say what you could do is a character creation system for Smash. So you could, in theory, create characters who didn't make it. Similar to how the Miis were supposed to function in Smash 4. Like, Ice-T, was in Smash if you made a Mii for him. Chuck Norris was in Smash.
Yeah.
And so, but you could do that almost like, I feel like in terms of moves, you'd have to, like, pick from the existing roster. So if you wanted, you could do, like, create a character who looked like the head of Mario with, like, the torso of Link and, like, the boots of Samus. I don't know, like, something like that. And then just give him, like, Captain Falcon's side B, give him, Mario's
basically
blood,
similar to the Soul Calibur.
That's
what you're going for.
Yeah.
I feel like I could see that kind of working.
Create an abomination of a character.
For sure. But it's better than not having it at the same time. Maybe it's not. I don't know.
I agree, though. The fourth one did need a little bit more refinement. Yeah. But I would like to see a return to that.
Awesome. Yeah. All right, so moving into the next game we know about, Yoshi. So I'm going to hit up with I'll start with this one again.
Okay.
Labo integration.
Okay.
The aesthetics of this new Yoshi game, the cardboard backgrounds just scream for Labo integration. Now, it's not something you have to have. It's something you can do. But it would be really cool for them to announce a Labo tie-in with a specific game. I think the Yoshi's franchise, it's not going to go back to Yoshi's Island. And it doesn't really need to. They're entry-level games. And Labo is, fun for all ages. So why not take an entry-level game and a thing that's fun for all ages and make them compatible with one another? That could be really fun. I would buy that Labo pack, especially if it functions with that Mega Yarn Yoshi amiibo or the Yarn Yoshi amiibos. I could see those two things being a lot of fun. I would love something like that. So yeah, Labo integration for Yoshi.
So I think with Yoshi, I feel like we're going to get some big sort of showcase of something. I want to compare it to Mario Odyssey. For the longest time with Mario Odyssey, we only really saw like base core platforming with it. And then we got the trailer that showcased Cappy. We didn't know Cappy was a thing. We didn't know we'd be able to possess other enemies and monsters. So for the longest time, it still looked like more like a Galaxy kind of game that took place in New York and some realistic forest in Mexico. And it was, other than that, it was just a traditional 3D Mario game. And then they released a trailer that showcased Cappy, and it's like, whoa, what just happened? And so we knew his hat would be a thing, I guess. I mean, we saw him throw it, but the capture mechanic, I feel like we're going to see some sort of big mechanic in this. I feel like it might pertain a bit to cardboard as well. We already know it's got the flipping mechanic, but I feel like there's something else they have up their sleeves for this Yoshi game we're still yet to see. I'm excited to see what that is. I don't know.
So I'll be honest here, I have 0 predictions. Yoshi the way this game looks, it seems very straightforward to me. It's very much along the lines of Yoshi's story and Yoshi's Woolly World, and so beyond.
I think that's what they want us to think, personally.
Yeah. It wouldn't
Mario
surprise me
Odyssey,
if
they have these similar to Mario, and then they threw in capture mechanic.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if they did do something like that. But it also wouldn't surprise me if they just said, "No,
it's Yoshi. It's plain and simple."
Is Yoshi. His cuteness sells.
I could see that happen.
Yeah, I could see that happening too. And so, for me, this is mostly just a wait and see, and I'll be pleasantly surprised either way.
I think what makes me I'm kind of see both camps. I think I'm more towards my unexpected mechanic because Yoshi's been so hush hush. I feel like a game like Kirby Star Allies, we got a bit more information a lot sooner, a lot more frequently for some reason. And with Yoshi, obviously it's still not out yet, but I feel like it's been hush hush for a reason. Whereas I don't know.
I think it's a little more simple than that. I think they just realized that they had 3 2D side-scrolling platforms coming out. Within one calendar year, so
they're spacing them out.
You don't want to, really bombard everybody with those kind of promotions. So I think that's why we're not seeing a whole lot of Yoshi. But I do think this. I do think Yoshi will be another engine for Nintendo to bring out some additional DLC. I think we're going to see a Yoshi DLC pack announcement. That's my second prediction. Something fun. Something that may be a little bit more challenging for, your harder and your more core fan base. Like the Yoshi games do skew younger, but I think some like cool DLC that appeals to the hardcore gamer would really be welcome in a game like Yoshi. Maybe even something simple where like, hey, Mario shows up. Hey, Mario is part of this, or Baby Mario, like have a Baby Mario mode where, just some there would be some kind of DLC announcement for Yoshi. That's what I predict.
Okay. My second prediction is a level creation system. Level creation. I feel like with a 2D platformer, you have those kinds of options. I think it'd be a little bit weird because the environments are made of cardboard and like are very artistic. And I don't see like with a game like Mario Maker, I feel like it's a lot simpler and a lot more easy. But I feel like with Yoshi, you could make a level editor kind of Yoshi at some point. It might not be this. I feel like it's a good fit for Yoshi games, though.
That could definitely work. I could see how using like that same kind of engine that Mario Maker used, where like I create a stage, like that's like just blasphemous, and post it online and see what the completion rate is. That was one of my favorite things about Mario Maker. I would make these impossible stages.
I hate you.
I just love doing that. Like they were beatable. They just you
break your system before you beat it. That's what it is.
You had to work for it. I actually had a stage that had a less than 1% completion rate, and it had like 1,000 plays. And I'm like, wow, okay, I made this too hard.
But but going back to just creating the environments themselves, like look like they're created like in a person's living room. I believe Treehouse said like during the Treehouse like live they did last year that this game looks like as a kid, like I could make this out of household materials around the house. And I think that's kind of like if you can do that in real life, then you can do that in the game where you can just make the levels. I don't know.
All right. So moving into our next one, Metroid Prime 4. Who's got the first prediction?
I think they'll preface it with another trilogy. I think Metroid Prime like trilogy for Wii was brilliant. But since it was so limited and it still sells for a high price, I think it's smart to release it as a trilogy, or at least some sort of like going back to it. So I think we'll get not only 4 but a trilogy to like get people excited to buy it first. Get people caught up. Much like how Bayonetta has Bayonetta 1 and 2. Xenoblade Chronicles X before that had Xenoblade Chronicles 3D. That game was also kind of unattainable in the same boat as Metroid Prime Trilogy.
Oh, that's a good one. I didn't even think about it like a collector's bundle of those 3.
To be fair, it has gotten more accessible to get this game. It was on the Wii U as like a virtual console Wii game. I don't know how that really worked, but that was on there, so it's not too inaccessible right now, but it is something they could do.
I mean, it is considering when you think about what the fan base of the Wii U is, considering there's only 14 million people.
I kind of hope, I mean, you don't have anything for Pikmin, but I hope we get a Pikmin trilogy at some point, too.
I forgot about
Pikmin trilogy needs to happen. But yeah, anyways.
All right. So, I definitely think we're going to see our first gameplay trailer for Metroid. I think they're not just going to give us a regular, cutscene trailer like they would at like what Sony is guilty of doing at a lot of their press conferences. I definitely think we're going to see gameplay, be it in Treehouse Live or in the direct itself. I think we're going to get our first gameplay trailer, and I think we're gonna see this game with we're gonna find that there is an online component to this game, like an online shooter component to this.
Okay, that could be interesting.
Yeah, that's about that I was going to predict as well. I think there will be multiplayer. I think there will be multiplayer similar to like the Metroid Prime Hunters.
Okay, I can see that.
Back in the DS days, which was a fantastic arena shooter, by the way, for y'all youngins who have never played it, you missed out. But I think they'll do something like that, especially considering that one of the big things that Nintendo is trying to push this year is their online service. And so having a big flagship title like Prime 4 taking advantage of that service would make sense from a business standpoint.
Now, I almost kind of wish that in terms of like an online like battle mode, I hope we also get co-op though on this kind of topic. I think co-op could be interesting. I feel like there's a sense of isolation in Metroid games though. I'm not sure how having an ally would really help with that. But I feel like if you make the game intense enough and like big enough, you could maybe get that feeling still. I feel like if you make it so if you're playing online, you have to work more as a team, I guess, could help. Like giving call-outs, shouting commands, like guys on my 6, bogeys on my 6, Star Fox. I don't know.
So that actually kind of leads me to my second prediction.
Okay.
Which you perfectly segued me into. I think that this game will be a sequel to all the other Metroids that we've seen before. And so what I imagine is it's Samus working because like in the last timeline Metroid game, Samus got her like super fusion suit, right?
Yes, she became a Metroid.
Yes.
And then she became a Metroid, right? So I kind of wonder if this is going to be a sequel beyond that. So you're playing like a new Samus, you know what I mean?
Like the next generation Samus.
Exactly.
All right, so you guys, so Jaden and Brendan stole my second prediction, but you guys don't know it yet. You guys don't know it.
What are you saying?
So I'm saying my second prediction was it's going to also have a local multiplayer co-op, but the second player will be a Metroid.
Oh, that'd be sick. Yeah,
because Samus herself is now a Metroid. She would be able to communicate and influence other Metroids.
It's almost like a co-star mode.
So she would essentially be like a new Mother Brain.
Oh.
So my prediction for this game is Samus is a Metroid, and she's decided that, hey, I'm tired of working for the government. I need to overthrow it.
Well, she's kind of already decided that more or less in the latest timeline.
Yeah, but now she's officially going to destroy them. Yeah, she's going to do it. And because she herself is also a Metroid, she's going to use other Metroids to attack, the government and just overthrow it entirely. And that's how you get your multiplayer co-op, because you could have, the second player play as either Ridley or another Metroid. So I think that's how this will go down.
What I think could be interesting as well is this is more towards my idea, is that Samus, now that she's a Metroid, she's the villain.
Yeah, that could be cool too.
And so I'm thinking that this is in the future. You're kind of building off the Federation's Force kind of vibe, where they, 40 years down the future, they reverse engineer Samus's original suit, and now you're the next Samus.
That could be dope.
Right?
That'd be sick. Going back to the lore, actually, I believe at the end of Fusion, she realized that like Mother Brain was right the whole time, and that she like the space pirates of Mother Brain were right the whole time, and Galactic Federation was the ones who were corrupt. And I believe that we were left at like, okay, now how does she act? And that's sort of where the game ended. Now that she had this information that.
So I'll be honest, I have not played Fusion in over a decade.
Yeah,
so
wow.
This is like, it's like I'm hearing this for the first time again.
Okay.
So it's thank you for explaining this to not just me, but
so then at some point, like if she does like fight for Mother Brain, she and become a Metroid, she like is Mother Brain, let's say. It's almost like you've because she's aligned herself with Space Pirates and Mother Brain at this point, right? Because after fusion, and so now she just is Mother Brain, and then we're gonna get like it goes full circle almost. So then she's Mother Brain. Galactic Federation, after being destroyed, decides to take them down, and all the Metroids with them. And they get a new Samus, and it goes full circle. And then that one becomes like a new Mother Brain 60 games later. I don't know.
That'd be super cool. I'd be down for that.
It all goes full circle. That's crazy.
No, man, I totally see any of these things could be legit for Metroid, but
yeah,
I mean,
it has so much potential.
That's the thing, though. Like, I need them to get back on track as far as telling the story. I mean, I'm not one of those other M haters, but like, it's been so long. I'm looking. What Metroid Fusion came out in 2002.
2002.
So it's been 16 years. And we
that's the reason I don't remember anything.
We don't have a resolution to this story. So,
no, we don't.
Like,
they've been filling plot holes.
It's a miracle that I remember that chronologically Fusion is the last game and that she is a Metroid. It's a miracle. I remember that because it's just been so long, and I don't have that game anymore to go back, pick it up, and play it just to relive it and then be like, okay, so this is the next logical course of action for this character. So yeah, I'm excited for Metroid Prime 4. I really hope it moves things along, and hell, it would be really cool to see Samus overthrow the Federation.
Oh yeah, for sure. But is that all the predictions, I guess?
No, we still have Pokemon Switch. So
I meant for Metroid.
Yeah, for Metroid, yes. So Pokemon Switch, which we now know will be coming out in 2019. So I don't really have a lot of predictions for this game that we didn't kind of already cover in the news segment. Just want to go over them real quick. I want the Pokemon Go capture mechanic to return, but only after battling the wild Pokemon first. And the raids. I think raids should also be implemented in a traditional Pokemon game to capture legendary Pokemon. Like, that's it. So I have no real predictions other than what we've already discussed.
I don't think it'll show up at E3 at all. I think Pokemon has had its spotlight, and Nintendo's already taken that spotlight, and they're going to run and move away from Pokemon entirely at E3. I think in terms of the 2019 game, I think Let's Go Pikachu, Let's Go Eevee will come out in November like they are slated to be. And then come February, I believe, they're going to have a Pokemon Direct, and then they're going to have Pokemon come back a week before E3, just like they did this year, and like get the final details out and a release date for next holiday season in 2019.
Yeah, that's probably about right. That would make sense to me.
All right, so let's go ahead and we'll move into Travis Strikes Again, No More Heroes. Nintendo's made a huge deal about this game, and with good reason. The No More Heroes franchise is beloved by the people who play it, and we just got an announcement for Killer 7 getting a remake. So, Nintendo doesn't want that thunder stolen because that Killer 7 remake is going to be on the next generation consoles such as the PS4 and the Xbox One. So yeah, they're going to get on the Suda51 hype train, and they're going to give us a solid release date for this game. That is my first prediction. We're finally going to get a real release date for this game, and I predict September.
So I don't think it'll be in the main show. I think this will be a game shown off in the Treehouse Live. I think this, despite how big and beloved this game is, it's shown just such a precedence of being like a Nindy title and a Treehouse kind of title. Nintendo Minute, I believe, covered it as well. I feel like despite it's a game deserving of a spotlight, it's not going to get it. I feel like it fills in the ranks with the Nindies and the side stuff. I think it will be E3, but it will be Treehouse exclusive.
Well, remember, it was part of the March Direct versus the Nindies Direct earlier this year.
And I think part of that is also due to Suda51. I mean,
I think
to be honest, his games, they don't play like AAA titles. They just don't. Like, even when he was attached to huge companies, all his games were very kind of hipster Nindy-ish. You know what I mean?
No,
agreed.
I think that's also a contributing factor to why people consider his game to be kind of an indie game.
All right. And my second prediction for No More Heroes, online multiplayer. They have not announced it yet. They've only announced local co-op, but I don't I don't think Suda51 is the type of developer that is going to put all those eggs in the local multiplayer co-op basket because, let's be honest, nobody couch co-ops anymore, even when they should. So,
I think that's a feature that I think is coming as well. But you already said that, so I think maybe a bit of DLC. I don't think that'll be an E3 announcement, but I think we should see the DLC for this game at some point, probably.
I think this game is going to end in such a way that it leads to the next core No More Heroes title.
I think so.
Is not one.
I think
because this is the way this one is supposed to play out. If it's not just misdirection, it's supposed to play out like a kind of indie game, for lack of a better term.
No, it's a spin-off, but it's still following the main storyline to set up for the next entry, in which that next entry will be a core title. It's more like I don't want to say the funding for the third game, but it's kind of like to judge the funding to get the money there by creating a slightly smaller scale game and also set it up.
I think this will lead to a different game that has more of the core gameplay that we're used to.
Yes, I agree.
All right, so our last known topic is one that I'm going to make a weird prediction. But I predict Nintendo's going to spend too much time on this subject, and that is Nintendo Switch Online. They're going to try to justify the cheap price point, and they're going to they're going to show us the 10 Super NES titles that are going to be announced. But I also think we're going to see something really cool. I think we're going to see some GameCube titles get announced as part of the Nintendo Switch Online services. So, guys, get ready. I'm calling it right here. We're going to see Super Mario Sunshine at E3. We're going to see it as part of the Nintendo Switch Online services. Now, I also, like I said, I do think Nintendo's going to spend too much time on this subject because they're going to try to justify that $20 because, there was a lot of backlash. And I think they want to clear the room of any backlash with this online service.
Now, I almost have to ask then, do you think that Smash Bros. Will support GameCube controllers and that will reverse back to this?
100%. Nintendo already had that update last year that made the GameCube adapter functional.
Yes.
Now
they said that was an intentional side
effect.
Man,
no. That was nothing unintentional about that. They just didn't think anybody would find it. That's what really happened. They didn't think anybody would find it. That's why we all should have known a Smash game was coming out within, a calendar year of that actually happening. That was like Nintendo said, shit, they data mined us and they found this. Every freaking time. Who are these people who are data mining us? We need to stop them. No, there was no mistake there, man. That was intentional, and Nintendo knows it. But PR.
What if the data mining was intentional to get the PR?
Man, so I honestly wouldn't put anything past Nintendo. They're sly marketers, man. They really are. Like
with the false demand, of course, that's scummy.
Like Nintendo knows how to rile people up.
So one of the things back on to the online service, my big prediction, my only real prediction, is that we will see elements of the Miiverse return in some way, shape, or form when they expand upon the online, and I assume it's going to take the form of a phone app.
I would really appreciate that. I don't like the move away from Mii's. I am too bonded with my Mii character. He has followed me since the Wii, moved to my 3DS, moved to my Wii U, moved to my Switch. I am too bonded to my Mii to not be able to have it, on my Switch. It's like it's a hidden function on the Switch, and that upsets me so much.
And the weirdest thing too. Yeah, and the weirdest thing is when we look at Nintendo and what they've been doing in the past, couple years, we see a lot of different attempts at creating this sort of like Miiverse social network thing with not just what was the one that just Miitomo? Yeah, with Miitomo and everything. And now that they have a centralized app that's going to be mandatory, it is the perfect zone for them to implement the social media network that they've always wanted.
I'll just bring back Miiverse, man. I was happy with Miiverse. I loved it.
I thought it was fantastic. I agree with you. I really liked it. I don't know why they took it away.
Bouncing off of that, then I'll get into my prediction. I feel like the current app is not social enough. I feel like you can send like playdate schedules and invites, and then there's no real other ways to communicate. You have to be in certain special lobbies for Splatoon. It's too online can't really be used in a social way. And I feel like you need to have more instant messaging of some kind, a way to reach out to unknown players, etc. Friend people from the app, etc. I think it needs to the app needs to be updated in some fashion, just be more social and more connected, because it's too linear one way this way.
And more games need to use it.
More games for sure.
Like Pokemon needs to use it. Smash needs to use it. ARMS
needs to be updated. Yeah,
ARMS should have had it. ARMS should have had it.
Agreed.
But for my big prediction, I feel like I hope that they actually spend a lot of time on the online service, but I hope they give us a reason to. And this is sort of my reasoning. So I hope we get one last Breath of the Wild update. And this Breath of the Wild update will include online. It'll have online co-op. So you have another Link from another world, just like how Wolf Link is from another world. And he comes over to your world, and it's just two Links having a good time in Hyrule. And you can expect there's so much Breath of the Wild is a perfect sandbox, though. It's such a good sandbox where you have the Magnesis, and you can do fun little steps with that, with Stasis, with Cryonis. There's a lot you can do with that, and how to kill enemies. With the last Champions Ballad DLC, we got the motorcycle, the Master Cycle Zero, to be able to race my friends around Hyrule in a Master Cycle. That's fun. I like that idea, but that's not something we currently have, and it might be a bit of a stretch. It goes back to Miiverse a little bit, but the Wind Waker message in a bottle system, but in Breath of the Wild, you can give little hints around the world, how to maybe tackle things, secret items you can grind out, etc. I think that could be a fun feature to also utilize that online. I think that update would probably drop the same day as the online system too.
That could be fun.
That's a very cool fun. Prediction. But I feel like but also The Legend of Zelda. I feel like they teased this announcement that I had when we talked about the online or previously. The original Zelda, Legend of Zelda on the NES, is part of this online system. I think that game will also receive a 2-player co-op to sort of help this Breath of the Wild co-op go further.
That sounds similar to the Satellite Zelda game.
Oh yeah. Way back in the day.
Oh yeah, maybe.
That could be interesting. That could definitely be interesting.
That'd be pretty cool.
All right, guys. Now it's time to move into the really fun part of our E3 prediction show. Random predictions. Mm-hmm. This is where we get to say anything we want and see what's, throw everything against the wall, see what sticks. So we each get to pick 3 games, either for the Nintendo Switch or for the 3DS. So any currently active Nintendo console. And we get to give a mini synopsis of what the gameplay style is and why we chose this game. So first and foremost, I want to start with a game that doesn't get enough love, and it's Punch-Out. Mm-hmm. I think we're going to see a brand new Punch-Out game. Now, I've made this prediction twice already.
This is the third time then, correct?
Third time is a charm. Now, with the first 2 times, I had the caveat that it would be Ronda Rousey's Punch-Out. Because at the time, when I made these...
I can see that! That's good.
When I made those predictions, Ronda Rousey was on top of the world, and I figured that Nintendo would want to get on that kind of horse again, like they did with Mike Tyson. Take the biggest fighter on the planet at the time and turn them into the secret final boss. Mm-hmm. So have Little Mac fighting off against Ronda Rousey, and she has her patented armbar in a boxing match, which would be hilarious. But this time, since Ronda Rousey is no longer a relevant MMA fighter, I'm just gonna say it's a regular Punch-Out game, with motion controls. And instead of Ronda Rousey being a secret hidden character, Springman's going to show up as the secret hidden character, similar to how Donkey Kong was the secret character in the last Punch-Out game. I think it would be super funny to see Springman and Little Mac fighting one another. So yes, my first prediction is Punch-Out, and it's not going to deviate from the Punch-Out formula. It is going to be a puzzle game, because that's what Punch-Out games are. They're not boxing games. They're puzzle games.
Yeah, you read like the pattern, then you react to solve the puzzle to beat the opponent in the puzzle.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's going to have a brand new updated art style, one that really utilizes the Switch. And I think that's going to be a lot of fun. Now, it will be different enough from ARMS that it doesn't take anything away from ARMS, but it's going to have its own little unique flair to it that'll make Punch-Out fans go crazy. So yes, this year, Punch-Out, but no Ronda Rousey tie-ins.
That'd be pretty cool.
So I want to bounce off of that, but what if Little Mac is the secret final boss and you're playing as a new fighter after like all these years, a new kid on the block coming in to prove his worth?
That could be fun as well. I mean, as long as it doesn't stray away from the Punch-Out formula, I don't think, I'm pretty sure there's going to be a contingency of players who will miss playing as Little Mac and they might find that blasphemous. But it wouldn't be the first time that Little Mac wasn't a playable.
What if there were two story modes? A Little Mac story mode, a new character story mode, and like multiple player characters.
I want to create a character feature.
Ooh, that could be fun.
I could see that being real cool.
And obviously, we're going to have a whole slew of semi-racist new characters to bounce off of.
Well, that's just the internet for you. What are you going to do?
I mean, no. That's what Nintendo did. We don't blame the internet for the racist connotations of the Punch-Out franchise. It's just as racist as the Street Fighter franchise. I love both of those franchises, but they're a little racist.
So, moving on to my prediction, I'm gonna go off of the old games that need more love, and I'm gonna say F-Zero.
Okay.
It has been like a decade since the last goddamn F-Zero game. Mm-hmm. Come on, guys! Like, they gave us Metroid Prime, and we were waiting for that for years. They have to give us F-Zero. Like the last one they had was GameCube.
Probably, I don't know.
We didn't see one on the 3DS. We didn't see one on the Wii.
Yeah, we haven't had one since GameCube.
Yeah, okay. So it would not surprise me if after years of being harassed and asked for a new installment that they would give us an F-Zero title.
All right. So I want to say this because when both of you pulled up like the classic titles, like I worried you're gonna steal mine. Kid Icarus. I want another Kid Icarus game. It just recently kind of got love on the 3DS, so it's not as like unrepresented as Punch-Out and or F-Zero. It got love fairly recently from Sakurai. But I feel like it will be slightly different. I feel like that how it played on the 3DS will not translate well, and so I think it'll follow a slightly different system. But I do want it to be like very similar at the same time. I don't know. Because I love the characters and like the charm and the quirks Sakurai put into the series. They fold all those characters lots of love. I hope if anything stays the same, it's definitely that. But I need to see like I hope it retains this shooter roots instead of the platformer origins. I hope that it maybe becomes a bit more like a action game, like give him an actual jump button, like let him sort of free roam. Maybe because like obviously the 3DS controls are not going to work still, so that might be a route to take it. I'm not entirely sure.
Awesome. All right. So for my second prediction in my random bucket list of games is Super Mario Spikers. This was a game that was developed by Next Level Games and was canceled midway through development. So the premise was it was a mashup between wrestling and volleyball, and it had the Mario characters in it. And Nintendo initially canceled the game because they found it to be too violent. But Nintendo has loosened their grip with their characters, specifically the Mario characters, and they've allowed those characters to grow and do outlandish stuff. And obviously Smash Brothers is a thing that exists in the world where we have Nintendo characters beating the living crap out of each other. So I actually think Next Level Games is going to get a second crack at this game, and I think they're going to make this game one of the best-selling games for the Nintendo Switch. I mean, think about it. It's a volleyball game, and we haven't had a true Mario sports game in a good minute. I mean, not one that anybody really wanted. Mario Tennis Aces, which we'll all be playing probably later tonight, is the biggest game that they have on slate as far as their sports titles are concerned. So I want to see Super Mario Spikers, and if you guys haven't seen the art for this game, look it up. It looks great.
That's a fairly good segue into my next prediction. So the guys who make all the Mario Tennis, Mario Golf games, the studio's Camelot, and they also make the Golden Sun games. So Golden Sun is a very cool RPG that was just like on the Game Boy, I believe, and then like 10 years later, it got a sequel on the DS. And now that it's almost been another 10 years, I think we're gonna get like every 10 years we're gonna get a Golden Sun game, right? And so Camelot, they have the Mario Tennis like series down to a science. They've been done this game for months at this point, and they've been working hard on the new Golden Sun. Like even though Mario Tennis Aces is just coming out this month, it's been finished ages ago, and we're getting Golden Sun. And I think to go along with it, if I didn't make my other two predictions for Smash Bros. Isaac is a playable character in Smash Bros. To rep Golden Sun to help promote this game.
Hold on, real quick. I just want to point out that my two picks are very contradictory to one another because Next Level Games made the last Punch-Out game as well. So I literally have one studio developing two games that I want. So let's see how that goes down. I would definitely like to see a Golden Sun game. It's been a long time.
It's been 10 years. We get one every 10 years.
They have to do it properly, though. Like, the biggest problem with the latest installment is there were way too many cooks in the kitchen. You didn't get a chance to... Well, because you're dealing with all the guys' kids. So you had, like, a cast of 10 characters.
Yeah. No, you're right.
Like, a 12-hour game. So they really need to just do it better.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like Fire Emblem is like part of the problem when it comes to
it's competing with itself.
Yeah, it's like Fire Emblem got really big in the last 10 years.
That's actually a thing. Why isn't Fire Emblem for our set predictions? We know that's coming, right?
Yeah, but you know what? I think when
that's probably coming. Well,
yeah,
guys,
we'll definitely see a trailer for Fire Emblem.
We'll probably see a trailer for Fire Emblem. Boom. That's all you need to know.
It wouldn't surprise me. Well, because we haven't had a confirmation on Fire Emblem
it's been silent.
We're talking about things that have just been confirmed so far. That's why. Yeah. So.
All right, Jaden, what is your third random prediction?
Oh, this is number 2. This is prediction 2.
Yeah, no, he's on number 2 still.
Yeah. So prediction 2. Now I'm going to start going into territory of things that are nearly impossible. Eternal Darkness 2.
Oh.
Eternal Darkness 1 was a game on the GameCube, which was absolutely phenomenal for all y'all youngins who don't remember. But it was a kind of a third-party exclusive. Excuse me, that's better. Third-party exclusive to the GameCube. That was kind of a survival horror take that pulled upon story elements of H.P. Lovecraft. So we're talking like Call of Cthulhu and Eldritch Gods. And one of the things that made this game absolutely unique was it had an insanity meter, because the things that you were seeing in the game was difficult to comprehend with the limited capacity of the fleshy, meaty, human, feeble mind. So you'd go crazy. And the way this was implemented in the game was what made this game phenomenal. So sometimes the screen would tilt, and so you'd have to, as you get more insane, the screen would eternally tilt.
Yeah,
or
I believe Amnesia Dark Descent did something similar, where the more insane you got, like the monsters got more crazy, intimidating, things stopped making sense, etc.
Yeah, or like flies would be on the screen. The one that I had that was my favorite that freaked me out all the time. Every time it happened, it freaked me out. But you go to save your game, right? And then it would go. It would have a screen saying, "Are you sure you want to delete your file?" You'd move over to no, and it'd be like, "Okay, we're deleting your save game." And I'd be like, "No, what the hell are you doing? No!" And then it'd be like, "Ha, I just got you, bro." So
you're insane.
Now, okay. Now, to kind of clarify Eternal Darkness. It is a third-party developed game, but Nintendo actually does own the license for this game because they were the publishers, so they own this franchise. So even though the studio that made it, Silicon Knights, I believe it was,
they're gone now.
Yeah, they're gone. But Nintendo still has
the ability to make this game.
They own this license. They can make a new one. So yeah, man, I completely forgot about Eternal Darkness. The problem with Eternal Darkness is I remember that game was like literally a development hell for that studio, and it really, like, as they developed that game, they all, like, they said the reason for the insanity meter was because developing the game was so hard for them that the developers thought that they were going insane, and that's when they came up with the idea for the insanity meter. So that would be really cool. But now we live in this world where HD Rumble is a thing, and could you imagine the implementation of the insanity meter with HD Rumble?
Oh no, that'd be super cool. You know, but I imagine that developing this game now would be a little bit easier now that we have engines to run the game. Back then, the practice was you have an idea for a game and you build everything from the ground up.
Mm-hmm.
So with the modern day, like Unreal Engine, et cetera, you already start to have a framework in which to build your title. So from that standpoint, it would probably be a little bit easier.
Yeah, that is very true. Yeah, we're talking about a very antiquated, style of development.
Yeah.
And who's to say? I mean, like, there are a lot of engines that are running pretty smoothly on the Nintendo Switch. So yeah, Unreal Engine.
Say
that again.
As well as now that Silicon Knights will not be developing it, it's going to be passed to a new studio, and so depending on who's working on it, they could do a really good job with it and have no problems.
Yeah, actually, this kind of segues into my third prediction.
Okay,
is Retro. We're gonna see Retro's game. Now I was a little bit more specific on what Retro would be making, but now I could totally see Retro like totally revitalizing Eternal Darkness. But I think Retro finishes out their Donkey Kong trilogy. I don't think.
Yeah.
Like we know that Retro isn't working on Metroid. We know this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I love Donkey Kong Country Returns, and I love Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, and I think it would be a damn shame if Retro didn't finish off the trilogy. But I don't think this game will be a 2D side scroller. I think that Retro
Donkey Kong 64.
Yes, a Donkey Kong 64 style game. That's what Retro is working on. That's why Retro's been silent. I think they are going to completely revitalize the Donkey Kong franchise in the 3D space. So think Mario Odyssey, but with Donkey Kong. And you best believe that New Donk City returns if they do that. Donkey Kong in New Donk City.
And then you have airplanes trying to take him down.
That is what we all want.
The building.
He goes to New Donk City, captures Paulina, and says something along the lines of, it's like the good old days, ain't it, baby?
And he climbs on top of the it's not Empire State Building, the new Donk State Building, I guess.
Something like that. Yeah.
It's not named exactly, so I don't know how to classify it. But
so yes, I think Retro comes out with a brand new Donkey Kong 64 style Donkey Kong game and finishes off the trilogy, and that's what they need to do. Look, man, Donkey Kong doesn't get the love that Mario gets, so it would be nice to see Retro really take Donkey Kong and not just do what's been done, but take it to the next level. And like I think they did that with Donkey Kong Country Returns. They definitely did that with Metroid. They completely revitalized the Metroid brand. So it would be really cool to see them take Donkey Kong into that final frontier. Just do to Donkey Kong what Donkey Kong 64 didn't really do, and make a good 3D open world game. So I think that's what Retro's going to really get their hands dirty with this year, and I think we're going to see a trailer for it. So those are my predictions.
So I'm glad you mentioned Retro, because my next prediction was for the Retro game, actually. But I don't think it's Donkey Kong. I think we're going to see, if they do finish out the Donkey Kong trilogy, I think we're going to take one quick break for another game, and then we'll maybe come back to it. Tropical Freeze, the remake, did just come out. I feel like Nintendo wants to not steal the spotlight that it has for a little bit longer, and just have it sell what it's going to sell, and then maybe Retro will start working on the next one after this current game, I should predict. And this one is actually kind of ripped straight from a rumor that was around, just because I want this now that I've seen the rumor. So Retro Studios was rumored, based off of E3 rumors that have been flying everywhere, to be working on a Star Fox racing game in the style of Diddy Kong Racing. Which I would be down for. A lot of people think this won't happen just because we just got Star Fox Zero, and that was kind of a big mess. I think we're all expecting Donkey Kong, or not Donkey Kong, Star Fox too. You got me thinking about Donkey Kong. Star Fox to sort of be like laying low to forget about Zero. But if anyone can make like, that's the perfect time when you don't let people forget about it. You give it to Retro and let Retro handle it and save the series. You know, you give something to Retro when you want this to be good. And so far, Star Fox has not been good. So you give it to Retro, and Retro will make it good.
Star Fox is the weirdest franchise for Nintendo.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's a game that it's beloved. It's a game that has a lot of history behind it as far as, you know, you had these two really good core Star Fox games in the first one and in Star Fox 64. But then somewhere along the lines, Star Fox became the experimental title for Nintendo, where they're just like, let's just do whatever we want with this character. Nobody will care. And then we end up with weird games like Dinosaur Planet. There was one for the GameCube that was pretty decent.
Adventure?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Adventure that was not Star Fox. That was Zelda, right?
No, that's Star Fox Adventure.
No, the Dinosaur Planet one.
That one's Adventure though.
That was Adventure 2, wasn't it? They had 2 adventure games, right?
I don't know. They had. I thought they only had one, and I thought that was Dinosaur World.
Give me one second. I just gotta look it up. I'm gonna.
Well, while you're looking that up, I will continue with my prediction. So, it's a racing game though, and I think that's a good direction to take the series. I don't think it'll be more popular or more iconic than Mario Kart, but I could see this racing game being far better than Mario Kart.
Assault.
Yes.
So there were 2 games. There were Star Fox Adventures and Star Fox Assault. Assault was a decent game.
Okay.
No, neither of them were Zelda games, but Dinosaur Planet was in the style of Zelda originally.
That's what I meant. Yeah, and that one was one Adventure.
That was Adventure.
Yeah, that was Adventure.
Okay. And then Assault
was the one that was all on land, which honestly I think it's underrated. I think it's a lot of undeserving hate. But anyway, go back to your prediction.
So yes, I think racing's a very good place to take Star Fox. Because in terms of the flight. The flight that we have, it's very linear, but it's also more like, you know, you do play a level, get the high score, play it again, etc. I feel like being a racing game, especially in the style of Diddy Kong Racing, you can do a lot more with the actual level design and make it more course design. Diddy Kong Racing can make like boss battles. Like you could be racing in Andross. In order to progress, you have to be Andross in the middle of the race. I believe Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing did some stuff like that with some of their tracks. I think that could be very cool. Being able to shoot obstacles out of the way, being able to shoot missiles at other racers along the way, it would be interesting. But this game needs to have a battle mode, because racing games have battle modes, hence Mario Kart. But when you look at the only real good parts about the recent Star Fox and honestly, almost all Star Foxes, is the multiplayer modes. The multiplayer battle modes are where this game shines.
This is the best part of 64, in my opinion. I love
best part of 64, best part of Assault, I'd say as well.
I love that. I love when you did a certain amount of tasks in 64, you could get the the pilots not in the ships where they'd be running around on foot shooting bazookas at the planes. That was one of my favorite things. You just see Slippy Toad running on his foot. He's so slow too. That was so much fun.
Yeah, but I think give this game a battle mode, because the Star Fox needs to have a battle mode to be successful. I think that's just a given. So make it a racing game with an online battle mode, and local battle mode as well. But I feel like this has a lot of potential. I think the rumor said it would have a hub world as well. I think that could be cool if you could customize all of your vehicles, which it would, I assume, have multiple vehicles, racing your R-Wing, your Landmaster, maybe the new drone or whatever it was that was in Zero, etc. There's a lot of vehicle options in this, so you could have a lot of Landmaster, some ground stuff, some air stuff, and I think that's offers a lot of potential as well. Third-person view, cockpit view could be something to play around with, but I think that has a lot of potential. I feel like I said, as a racing game, it might not be more iconic and popular as Mario Kart, but it will probably, if done right, be way more fun.
Hey, as long as it's not a gyro-controlled game like Star Fox Zero, I'm 100% on board with Retro.
I feel like they could add that, but don't make it like a default. I don't know.
Agreed.
Or just have the option to turn it off, even if it is
exactly.
default. Just play traditional controls, man. Look, I have nothing against gyro controls. I just, as an older gamer, I'm never going to get used to that. So can we just please wait for my generation to die off before we completely go into motion games.
Okay, yep. So that's my third and final prediction. I have said Golden Sun, Kid Icarus, and Star Fox by Retro Studios.
All right, and so my last prediction is another one that is in the land of impossibilities, and this is this would be a return to the old series called Eternal Arcadia, or as it was known in America, it was Skies of Arcadia.
Yep.
Skies of Arcadia. Skies of Arcadia was originally released on the Dreamcast, and it was developed by a now defunct developer called Overworks. Now, eventually, it made its way to the GameCube. During that, they actually added an entirely new character. Now, this game, the original one, rather, is one that easily makes like my top 5 or possibly top 3, depending on how I'm feeling. RPGs of all time. What made this game great, not only was a turn-based strategy, it had an element system. Before that was really big, so you could change the elements of your swords or your weapons to do extra damage and weaknesses, etc., etc. But what made it really good is that it had a air-to-air turn-based skyship combat, which was absolutely phenomenal. It's the best I've ever seen implemented a system like that while still keeping the turn base. Now, I would love to have a sequel or just another sort of game in the installment of this sort of franchise. The publisher was Sega, and Overworks eventually got absorbed by Sega. So in theory, they got the IP, so it's possible, just improbable. But I would also settle for an HD remake or an HD remaster. Like at this point, anything Skies of Arcadia, I would take. If you gave me a shitty mobile game, I would probably take that too. But I mean, Skies of Arcadia, I would love to see it on the Switch.
Well, I know that if Ian Flynn is, listening to the show, he's screaming because he confirmed that that's his favorite video game franchise of all time on our interview the past couple weeks. And if you guys haven't heard that interview, go please check it out because I think it's the greatest interview we've ever done on this podcast. But yeah, man, Skies of Arcadia is a classic. It's one of those games that is often overlooked, but the people who have played it, nobody ever says anything bad about it. And man, it was a damn good looking game too on the Dreamcast.
It's like Sega's Mother 3, or not Mother 3.
It was pushing that. It was pushing that hardware, man. That game was beautiful. Like, like I didn't own a Dreamcast, but I had a friend that did, and I would spend a lot of time at his house, and I'd watch him play, and then whenever he wasn't playing, I'd mess around with his save file because I'm a douche like that.
At least you went up to it, right?
Yeah, but hey, man, look, that is a good one, man. And you know what? Sega's relationship with Nintendo is at the they're cool now. Like we're not in the console era anymore, so I could definitely see that being an awesome title for for the Nintendo Switch, especially with the portability. Man, yeah, I would play that. Yeah, an HD remake on the Switch would be dope because that's one of those games that like it's hard to put down once you start playing it. So
being on portable space.
Exactly.
Benefits it.
And that's one of those things that we could possibly see with the online as well. Let's say they go with having old GameCube titles be available through their online streaming service.
True.
Skies of Arcadia Legends would be a perfect addition. So I mean,
no, I agree, 100%. All right, man. So I think that's it. We got through all these predictions. These were fun. These are fun. I love the E3 predictions show because I don't know in advance what you guys are going to say. The only people, older listeners might know that I'm going to say Punch-Out at some point just because I love Punch-Out and I want it. Now, granted, I felt like my idea was a little bit more valid when Ronda Rousey was at the height of her popularity. But I still think Punch-Out deserves some love. I'm just saying, missed opportunity to have Ronda Rousey Punch-Out.
They couldn't do it now. Now she's part of WWE, and they're not going to release the rights to her at all.
I mean, they did. Look, I'm just saying. And also, wrestling is ballet with dudes. So,
What if Little Mac got in a WWE wrestling ring? WWE Punch Out, but not Punch Out. Wrestle out. It's Wrestle Out.
You're lucky that there's a computer screen between you and me.
Well, no, but you can keep like the formula where it's puzzle based. Just the movement patterns would be based off wrestling, right?
Don't make me hurt you.
Okay, sorry.
Mess with my Punch Out, man. No, this was a fun. This is a fun episode. I always get excited for the pre-E3 show just because you can be bananas with it, and if something actually sticks, you know how amazing that would be. We called it.
You got your Punch Out.
We got Punch Out. We got Skies of Arcadia, Donkey Kong 64. Like, oh my god. No, that'd just be dope. These are that's the thing. Like, we rarely get to be selfish when we make this podcast. We make this podcast with the idea that we're being as fair, as we possibly can be. Sometimes we get a little out of line, and that's fine. That don't bother me none. But, we don't do this podcast selfishly. And E3 is that one time where I was like, I'm going to be selfish as hell. And I'm going to say the games that only appeal to me and damn the rest of the world because I want my Punch-Out and I want my Donkey Kong 64, retro game. And I know, that's the thing, though. That's the sad thing is even if Retro announced a Donkey Kong 64 style game, people would be like, why? I don't want this Retro. That's that game ever comes to fruition. Just like they did when Tropical Freeze was announced. You just made a Donkey Kong game. Yeah, 3 years ago. That Retro do their thing.
I mean, again, we've touched upon it before. This is one of the biggest problems with the fickleness of the Nintendo fan base.
For you.
Labo
was not aimed at you. It was given no indication it was Smash Bros. I don't know what you're thinking. Just don't buy it if you don't want it. Vote with your wallets, people. Make up your minds, too.
But yeah, man, these E3 shows are they're like Christmas. They're like Christmas. And,
yeah, definitely.
And this is this is us making our Christmas list. And, Santa Nintendo will bring us a bunch of other stuff that we didn't know we wanted. But, once they announce it, I didn't know I wanted that game, but now I need to have it. Why is it coming out in 6 months? Because, I'm already old, man. I don't want to die before you start releasing these games.
I also want to just point on, I think we're going to also do a lot of out-of-the-blue stuff. You said, a bunch of stuff we didn't know we wanted. I think stay tuned to the Treehouse. The Treehouse will probably announce some miscellaneous stuff not in the main presentation, such as what we got last year with Metroid, Samus Returns, Sushi Striker Way to Sushido. There's a lot of interesting stuff that I think will be shown off at the Treehouse that we did not expect at all. And so I think for the games we didn't know we wanted, definitely check into Treehouse. That's something.
Absolutely. But guys, that's it for our show that we are wrapping up this E3 prediction show. But fret not, we will have very comprehensive E3 coverage. I will be doing a live reaction to the Nintendo Direct for E3 this year. Anybody else want to jump in on the live reactions? I think that would be great. So feel free to do a live reaction.
I work, but I would love to join you for that.
Obviously, we are going to have a new episode of the podcast right after E3. So Nintendo's presser is on the 12th. We will be recording the next episode on the 13th. So we will know all of the major Nintendo news. Even from the third parties, because I believe Ubisoft goes on Monday. So Ubisoft is Monday, Nintendo's Tuesday. So we're going to find out all of the major stuff, and then we're going to have our third annual E3 extravaganza show, and I can't wait for that because, again, that is actually Christmas. This is the build-up. Right now, this is Thanksgiving, where, we start making our Christmas list and get ready for Black Friday, and then E3 is Christmas, and we get all our presents.
Yeah. So, and it's how I like to think of it is this is what we want, and then E3 happens, post show is what we actually got and why it's cool, I guess.
Exactly. Yeah. So we're gonna have very comprehensive E3 news, live reactions, all the good stuff that you've come to expect from this channel. And guys, that's gonna be it. So before I let you go, we gotta hit you up with these social media links. You can hit me up on Twitter at Nice1983. You can email me at nice1983@gmail.com. Hit me up on Facebook, facebook.com/Nintendo Power Zone. If you're a fan of this podcast, you can always download new episodes on iTunes, Google Play Music, stream episodes on Stitcher Radio. But if you want to watch the show live, you can do what you're doing right here and go to Nintendo Power Zone on YouTube.com. Anybody else, hit them up with your social media links.
I'd also like to thank Let's Go Eevee for tuning into the first half of the show and sticking around. Been a great chatting with you in the live stream. Thanks for coming out to the show, watching it live like you're doing right now. If you guys want to do so, he just gave you the YouTube links. Check that out for the next episode. You know the date. It's the 13th. Is the next day we're recording, right? So
Yes, sir.
you can hop on live and see what we do live. My Twitter is @TheKingBlues. Blues once again spelled BLOOZ on Twitter.
All right, you can hit me up at YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter at Jaden Winsong. And if you want to talk with us more, pay attention to the Facebook page. Occasionally, we give out timed links to the Discord channel, which is a way that you can talk to us in real time, pretty much whenever we're around. So that could be your direct line to us. Check us out on Facebook and watch for that link.
Absolutely. All the ways you guys can hit us up. You know how to do it. We want to thank you guys so much for watching our pre-E3 prediction show, and we'll be back in 2 weeks with our E3 post show. Deuces.